Okay, so I wanted to make a second video because I still had more to say, and I'm in such a good mood to talk about these things right now. So where I left off, I was saying that I think the transgender life is right for me. And I think that's true of anyone who's bold enough to come out to ask people to use male pronouns, or even just to come out and say, like, look, this is how I really feel, this is who I really am, and this is who I've always been. For someone to have the guts to say that, if you're doubting yourself, like, that just takes a crazy amount of courage to do. And I don't think that someone would do that without seeing the benefits of, like, what this future life will be like. But, on the same idea as that, I have heard in, like, transgender, in these YouTube videos, I actually heard, what am I? Female to male, one of FTM say, the words, if I could have been born a man, I would do that in seconds. I don't think that's the case for me, and I don't think that really should be the case for anyone transgender. I think there's a lot of benefits to being transgender. And if I had to choose, like, would I like to be born male or transgender, I think I might have chosen transgender. Because, I mean, this is all part of my, like, amour fati thing, like, I want to embrace my fate and who I really am. But, I mean, sure, there are downsides to being trans, like, you have to fight so hard, you have to risk all of this stuff to have something that people were born with, which seems unfair. But you also gain so much from that struggle. You can perceive so much more in society, like, there's so many gender differences. I mean, you might say, like, well, that doesn't really matter, but you can understand other people so much better. And sometimes I feel like you can see beyond a cisgendered perspective. Like, you can see so much more present in the world that someone who's cisgendered and comfortable with their gender always has been. I feel like you have a little bit of a elitism, like, you know just a little bit more than they do. And okay, you might say that's not worth anything, but just the struggle itself, just realizing that you have the confidence in this day and age to come out as trans, that's something. That's something to be proud of, really. And I don't know. For me, myself, like, I remember thinking in high school, like, about, say, the civil rights movement, and I would think, like, wow, it would be so cool to be, like, a black person in that time, because your life would have so much more meaning than it would to like, a black person who wasn't alive in that time. Like, there's so much going on for your people. God, I would just want to be there. And so then I thought of, like, the gay rights movement, and I always wished that I was a gay guy, whether it was consciously or subconsciously. And I would think, like, yeah, I wish I could have been around for, like, Stonewall and been a gay man there. And I was so angry about, like, being born in this century because there was nothing left to fight for. Gay rights is pretty much done. I mean, we have marriage in so many states. Like, it's getting there. It'll get there. And I kept thinking, like, where is the new territory? Who are the people who are suffering now, who need to fight, for their rights? That sounded really lame. But I would always think, like, where's the new uncharted territory of the 21st century? Who are the new civil rights people? It's us. And now that I realize this, like, I'm so excited to be transgender in this time right now, because it has so much more meaning than, say, someone who's born, like, centuries later, considering, like, maybe the Earth is still around then. But to someone who's transgender, born into a society where that's accepted, it's not quite as cool as someone who's born transgender now and can fight to change society's view, to change the, I don't know, paradigm shift. Who knows what could come from this. But point being, I'm very happy to be alive in this century and to be transgender, which is something I was not comfortable with for a long, long time. And, so yeah, I just needed to say that to the entire YouTube trans community. 'Cause I feel like a lot of people wish, like, oh, I wish I'd been born a guy. Don't wish that. You're trans, and that's awesome. Like, seriously. Okay. I just pointed my finger at, like, the universe. Don't wish that. I'm sorry. I didn't mean that. Okay. Another thing that I wanted to briefly talk about was the gay man's group that I'm in. And, I'm gonna be late for class, so this is gonna be good. Okay, so I'll make this brief. Talking, there are obviously still a lot of struggles amongst, the gay community. Lesbians, gays, bisexuals, anything else that would be included in that. There's so many letters these days. But yeah, for me, I think I provide such an interesting perspective on, like, the whole gay thing, because for me, growing up, I think I said this before, but having a crush on a guy, for me, like, liking guys and being like, wow, that guy's hot, that was encouraged for me. Encouraged. And for me, dressing up in dresses, going to a dance class, painting my nails, was encouraged. And I feel like, having been a gay man all along, that I'm, like, one of the purest forms of gay man, because there's nothing in society, like, telling me that I should be more masculine, if that makes sense. I feel like I'm putting myself on this high pedestal, but I mean any gay transgender man. It's, like, I feel like I really got to flourish as who I really am by being transgender, because there was no pressure, well, I guess maybe this is only true in the case of a gay trans man, but there was no pressure to conform to masculine ideals, so I got to do anything I wanted. Like, I got to put my hair in pigtails and, like, wear my mom's clothes and high heels, and no one ever frowned upon that. In fact, they probably encouraged it and smiled and laughed. And it's kind of awesome. Like, what else do I have written down? Oh, yeah, like, going from a straight woman to a gay man, for me, the transition feels so right, because there was never anything in society telling me that I couldn't like men, that I couldn't like dressing up, that I couldn't like sparkles and glitter and whatever. I don't know. But basically, what I wanted to say at this, like, gay man's meeting, and maybe I will say this soon, is that I hope that society gets to a point in which all gay men feel like how I did when I was growing up. How people would encourage what I liked, what I didn't like, and, well, maybe they wouldn't. Anyway, what I liked. I hope that all gay men in society someday have the same experience growing up as I did, and none of them are, like, frowned upon for being girly or anything like that. I hope society will one day reach the point where that sort of thing is encouraged. And I know this is a lame point to end on, but I have to go. But I had to share my enthusiasm, and I hope you enjoyed, and please discuss. These are important topics, so please leave comments or video responses. That's all. Bye.